In this video, you'll learn 3 classic blues turnarounds to spice up your acoustic guitar blues playing. Turnarounds are perhaps the most identifiable part of a blues and sound great, especially when you have a variety of them in your fingers to then mix and match together. Hi, this is Simon Candy from acousticguitarlessonsonline.net, and a turnaround is where you simply turn the tune back around to the start again. So in a 12-bar blues form, the turnaround is made up of the last 2 bars of the progression before returning to the start to go again. And it's in this section of the 12-bar that you hear very cool lines that are instantly recognizable to almost anyone's ear. In this lesson, I'll break down 3 classic blues turnarounds you can use in your own playing. Watch until the end of the video where I reveal a simple way to drastically multiply the use of the blues turnaround in your playing. This one simple application of the turnaround will have you finger picking chorus after chorus of the blues. So let's get to it. Okay, so this first blues turnaround is probably one of the most classic turnarounds. They all are, but this one perhaps takes the cake in that respect. So what we're doing here, well, let me play it for you first. Okay, so it sounds like this. Okay, once more. What is going on here? We've got the whole turnaround is based off this D7 open chord shape. Okay, and we move it up 2 frets, 1 tone to make it E7. So here we are at D7, D sharp 7, E7. And what we're doing, you can use your 1st, 2nd and 3rd fingers if you like, or you can use your 2nd, 3rd and 4th fingers. What do I use? Yeah, I think I do use my 1st, it depends, but 1st, 2nd and 3rd I'll use. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're taking this shape and we're moving it down chromatically, which means 1 fret at a time. So from where it is as an E7 to an E flat 7, D7, and then we resolve into an E chord. This is the top 3 strings of the E open chord. So we've gone from the E7 chromatically down to this E chord. Okay, and then we resolve, or we go to the B7 chord, which then resolves back to the start of the tune. That's the first turnaround, or the basics of the first turnaround, right? This shape and the B7. Now what I'm doing here is I'm picking the notes out of the chord. So I'm coming from here. Well, first off, what I do is I hit the low E string, and then I grab that first shape for the E7. Then I go to the D7, or sorry, E flat 7, D7, and then I play the 3 strings of the E together. So we've got, and then the B7, because the last 2 bars of the blues turnaround is an E7 to a B7 in the key of E. So that is a turnaround. So we've got to be true to the harmony here, but we've got this little riff that's wrapping itself around those chords essentially. Okay, so we got, and then the B7. Now a couple of things I added there just to, you would have heard when I first demonstrated perhaps. First off, on this middle chord here, when I get to that E flat 7 there, I take my 3rd finger off and get the open E string. So here, and then I put it back on for the D7. It's just a variation. If you don't do that, fine. That's a turnaround too. There's all little nuances that occur from, one context to another. But I like that one. So I've got the low E, E, finger off, back on, and resolve into the E open chord. And before going to B7, I like to do a little chromatic bass note run. That is chromatic movement ascending. If we did it on 1 string, it's more obvious, right? You can see it's moving by 1 fret at a time. However, we want to target the open B7, so put it in this position. And then you've got your B7 chord, and you can just sort of play that out for the half bar, or just let it ring before going back to the start. So let me play it once more slowly. Okay, so So that's the first blues turnaround. Shortly, when we've covered a couple more, I'll put them into context for you so you can hear it a little bit better in the overall context of a 12-bar blues. Okay, so this next turnaround, where the first one was a little bit more based on chord shapes, this one's a little bit more of a riffy type turnaround, single notes. So again, it's the last 2 bars of the blues, so we're outlining the E7 to B7 chord change before it's, turning it back around to the start again of the 12-bar form, that is. So with this one, let me play it for you. This is the second turnaround that we're going to have a look at. Okay, I'll play it once more. Okay, so let's check this one out. So again, we're starting, as most turnarounds will in the key of E, start with the low E. I'm also going to play the high E, and then I've got this little slide up. This is real typical open blues scale type phrasing. If you've done much of this stuff before, it should be kind of familiar to you. If not, that's fine. But I'm going up. You could use your first and second. I think in this case, 2 and 3 are probably better. And I'm sliding with the 3rd finger into the 4th fret on the 3rd string, and then my 2nd finger will be there for the 3rd fret 2nd string, and then my open E string. So top string. So that's the first part. And then that 3rd finger is going to slide into the 2nd fret. This is a grace note slide. So we don't want to sound the 4th fret and then slide it. We want to pluck and slide in from the 4th fret, where that 3rd finger currently is, into the 2nd fret. So you've got this, and then sliding back, and then from there you're going to pull down off the string to get the open G string there. And then same finger, so all 3rd finger here, we'll play the 2nd fret on the 4th string. So the first part was, and then the second part, and then that same finger, still 3rd finger, we'll play the double stop, 2 notes, consecutive strings here, adjacent strings, 2nd fret on the 2nd and 3rd strings. Let me see where we are here. Yeah. And then you come back. So here we get the double stop, then just roll the finger so it can come back to the note it just played before the double stop, 2nd fret, 4th string, and then the first finger, we'll do a grace note again, quick hammer on, plucking the open 3rd string and hammering down with the first finger on the 1st fret. So let's just break it down a little bit again here. Sliding up with that little first part, slide back, double stop, back to the 2nd fret, and then I think it's down on the open E string. I'm going to have to check that. It's hard when you just sort of play it very slowly. But I think that's it. So we've got this. Yeah. Okay. So when you do that little hammer on there, you've also got the 2nd fret on the 4th string and then the low E. That's the whole riff over the E there. But before you do that riff, you've got to pluck the open string, because the riff comes in on the 2nd beat. So we've got like a 1 and, so we're going to include the open top string here as well. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, and then into the B7. Similar little bass note connection there as the first turnaround, only not starting from the G flat here, A flat, starting from the A. Open, 1st, 2nd, which leads nicely into B7. So again, all together slowly, that turnaround. Okay, the third turnaround here. This one's a little bit different. It's going to be higher up the fretboard. So again, like the first 2 turnarounds, we begin with the low E string. So what you'll find with turnarounds a lot of the time, the sort of turnaround itself starts on the 2nd beat. You outline the chord or imply the E chord with the low E string, and sometimes you can come up with the open E on the end of one, and then turnaround starts on the 2nd beat. That's sort of what a lot of turnarounds do. So this one's doing that. We've got the low, and we might put in the high E on the end of one, and then the whole basis of this one is to get your pinky to fret the 12th fret on the top string, and it's going to be the pedal tone, meaning we're going to continue to come back to this 12th fretted note being held down by the pinky and the first string. And what's happening is your third finger is also in the 12th fret, but on the 4th string. And you're going to use your thumb and your middle finger to, or it could be thumb and middle finger or thumb and ring finger, and you're going to go back and forth between those two notes. Then you're going to drop that 12th fret down to the 11th. Then you're going to drop the 11th down to the 10th. And then the same finger can move back to the 9th fret, and you just play the 9th fret on its own. So you get this. Okay, and that's in front of the initial. And then you can come back down to the open position and play that B7 chord with a little bass note run if you like. So if I play that in its entirety. Okay, once more. Okay, so you got 3, or at least one of that 3 would be great. Eventually 3 of the turnarounds that we've just had a look at in this video. But if you've got just one in your fingers, that's great. That's enough. You can do what we're going to do here with that one turnaround. The turnaround, as we said, is the last 2 bars of a 12-bar blues. So we want to connect it into that 12 bar, put it into context. So what's happening leading up to that last 2 bars? Well, if we're in the key of E, we're going to have a B7 chord going to an A7 chord. That's bars 9 and 10, and then in 11 and 12 will be the turnaround. So basically the last 4 bars of a blues is in E, so B7 to an E7, A7, to the E7 to the B7, and then we're back to the start again. When you practice the turnaround, once it's getting in your fingers a bit, and I'll use the first one here as the example, I would play 2 and 3, the bars leading up to the turnaround, 3, and then the turnaround. Okay, so what I did there is I just sort of strummed out or picked out on the B7 to A, 2 and 3, and turn around. I did a little bit of a different one there. So the point here is you work on the turnaround, great. Now let's connect it into the 12-bar blues, or else all you'll have achieved is a turnaround in isolation, which, yeah, it can sound kind of cool, but you want to be able to put it into your blues jamming. So every time you get to that last 2 bars of a blues, you've got the option to, you know, play one of your turnarounds that you've pre-prepared earlier. Okay, so you can do that with any of them. So, you know, you can play your B7 just to give it context and to set it up as you'll come to it. And okay, so it's about connecting it into the blues. But here's another thing that I find really, really useful with turnarounds. It'll drastically give you more options, more ways to use the turnaround. Because when we think turnaround, we're told, okay, it's a turnaround. You played in the last 2 bars of the blues to turn the tune back around. Yes, that's one way you can use these turnarounds, but you can actually play them in other parts of the blues too. So if we look, you just got to kind of adapt it to fit. So if we look at a blues in E, we have typically standard blues in E, 4 bars of an E7 or an E7, 2 of an A7, back to 2 of E7, and then we're coming into this turnaround section, B7, A7, and there's your turnaround, right? We can put the turnaround in bars 3 and 4 over the E chord. The thing is, it's at that point in the blues, you're not going to the B7 afterwards, so you don't want to put in this at the end of the turnaround. Okay, so let me show you. If I'm playing through a 12-bar blues, so, you know, we've got the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Now, 3rd bar here, and then back into the A. Then the turnaround again. To the A, and then the real turnaround. So the point is that there's other areas in the blues, namely the 3rd and 4th and the 7th and 8th bars, which are both double bars of the E chord in a blues in E, is where you can place that turnaround, any of the turnarounds. But don't go to the B7 chord. Don't play that part of the turnaround. So when I played it here, and I got to here, I didn't go ba-da-da-da, because that would totally not work, because it's going to an A7 chord next. So what I did is I played the turnaround, and then here I didn't go ba-da-da-da, I just waited out the rest of the bar, which is more or less most of a bar there, on the E7 chord. And into the A, so you got your 2 bars of A, and then here's the E, so and the B and the A and into the turnaround. So these things work in other areas of the blues, not just the last 2 bars, which really drastically multiplies your application of a turnaround. You can use it in lots of different places. I remember first discovering that because I just was shown these as turnarounds, so I thought, okay, I've got to use them as a turnaround. I can only use them in the last 2 bars. Well, no, actually, you can use them anywhere. Just make sure you kind of end it correctly for where you are in the blues. So if I was using that second blues turnaround in the same sort of way, so I'm got my opening 2 bars of E, and then into my A, and the turnaround. I'm not going to B7 now, I'm just filling out the E7 that follows, and then I'm in the last 4 bars, and then the turnaround for real. Okay, so there's many more places in a 12 bar that you can use your turnarounds and get more bang for your buck. And then you can mix and match them, of course. You don't have to play the same turnaround lick every time. So if I was playing like my E blues, do the first one into A, and then I might go as the second one, and then maybe back again, right? So I used all 3 turnaround riffs there, but only one as the actual turnaround. The other 2 were in the other parts of the blues. So experiment with that, because you'll get a lot more for the work that you put in. You'll get much more return for the work you put in on any turnaround. It becomes a really cool blues riff that you can use anywhere in the progression. If you like this video, then you'll love this free ebook audio, How to Build Your Very Own Acoustic Guitar Finger-Picking Blues Song. In this ebook, I break the 12-bar blues down into 4 key areas, making it easy for you to understand. You then learn how to approach each one of these areas of the blues with a variety of finger-picking riffs and licks from which to create your arrangement. Best thing is, I'm going to give you an inch and then show you how to take a mile by demonstrating how you can create variation upon variation of a finger-picking blues using the riffs and melodies you learn in the ebook. You can think of each riff like that of a puzzle piece. However, unlike a puzzle, there is more than one way to connect your riffs together to create a great sounding finger-picking blues. This is the key to coming up with your own arrangements. So click the link in the description below this video and download your free ebook audio, How to Build Your Very Own Acoustic Guitar Finger-Picking Blues Song. If you like this video, then hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to hit the all-important notification bell button so YouTube can tell you when I've released a new video. This is Simon Candy from acousticguitarlessonsonline.net. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.